All right, finally. All right, finally. So, what happened was I recently finished watching a picture, not watching. What was I doing? Yes, I recently finished reading a picture of Dorian Gray, and there were some vocabulary words that I didn't know. So, what I'm doing right now is just I typed it all in, like all 70, okay, into vocabulary.com, and I'm just learning them out loud. So let's do this. Learn. Where is my list? Vocabulary lists. My list. A picture of Dorian Gray. Let's start. Oh, there we go. Practice. So I'm thinking vetri or verity. It's probably verity. What does that mean? What is VER? A condition markedly different from the norm, a state of friendship or cordiality, conformity to reality or actuality, disgrace resulting in improper behavior, verity. I'm going to say no to friendship. A condition markedly different from the norm. I'm going to say that one because it sounds like variety in a way. Oh my goodness. Conformity, disgrace resulting from improper behavior. Conformity, state of friendship or cordiality. Verity, disgrace. Is it friendship, conformity to reality or actuality? What? Your friend tells you she saw a UFO yesterday. You might be inclined to question how do you say this?
Verity.
Verity, okay. Like verify, never mind. The verity or truthfulness of her statement. Everyone knows UFOs are only visible at night. Can also be used to mean a true idea, belief, or statement. Abstract concepts like love and goodness are often referred to as verities, conveying the idea that they are universal truths. Verity is related to the word verify, meaning to determine whether something is true. If your friend tells you that UFO story again, you should verify its verity. A true idea, belief, or statement. Okay. E special. E special? E special. Especial, if it's especial, I'm gonna cry because that doesn't sound right. Surpassing what is common, usual, or expected.
Especial.
Especial. Wow. Okay. Something is special is even greater or more than it usually is. The letters you get from your Japanese pal would be of especial interest to your brother who collects foreign stamps. Particular interest, you mean? So it's particular. Something especial is even greater or more than usually is, surpassing what is common, usual, or expected. You can use the adjective especial to emphasize the usual or singular nature of something or its importance. Doctors and nurses need to take especial care to wash their hands often, and it might give your grandmother especial joy to see all of her 13 grandchildren pose for a photograph together. Especial is less common when it's near relation, special, and both words come from the Latin specialis, particular. Well, there you go. It is particular. Well, particular is involved. All right. Querulous, I'm thinking that's querulous. You know, I'm thinking quarrel. So I feel like they like to argue a lot. Not quizzical, complaining, threatening, communicative, complaining. There you go.
Querulous.
Querulous or querulous?
querulous, querulous,
Querulous means having a tendency to complain, or more directly put, whiny. Sure, no one can be happy all the time, but that's no excuse to be querulous.
querulous, querulous,
Querulous, querulous. Querulous may remind you of the word query, which means question. However, the two words are not closely related. It's perfect to make a query. Just don't be querulous if you don't like the answer you get. Querulous does share its origins with the word quarrel. It means argument, okay? And that's what's likely to happen if you complain too much. All right. Omnibus. Omnibus. Um, I think it's this because I kind of went through the definitions before I even started this, and it just said it was a big bus. What? What is it? An instrument? Oh, you got to be kidding me! A platform raised to give prominence to the person on it. An anthology of writing on one subject or by the author. You got to be kidding me! That is not what. That is not the definition I read. An anthology of writings on one subject or by one author. Omnibus?
omnibus,
Omni- uh, omnibus is another word for a bus. Okay, as in a large vehicle carrying lots of passengers. That's exactly what I read. Other names are autobus and coach. And I think the omnibus in Dorian Gray, the context was they're getting on some form of transportation. So what is this? This word has bus in it, and that's the main meaning of omnibus. Main meaning is bus. As a book, an omnibus is collection of articles. Okay. And okay, as a book. So in a book context, it's a collection of articles either all on the same subject or written by the same author. An omnibus of Joyce Carol Oates would fill more shelves than all of Shakespeare's plays. A third meaning is something that covers a lot of different subjects at once, like an omnibus bill that has legislation about gun control, transportation, and parking meters. I'm sorry, I'm thirsty. Macintosh? What the hell is a Macintosh? A structure that provides a natural habitat for bees. A narrative song with a recurrent refrain. Clothing, usually a cloth that shelters an area. A lightweight, waterproof, usually rubberized fabric. Damn, that's hard. Macintosh. Give me 50-50. What is it not? Oh, wow. So it's not those. A narrative song with a recurring refrain. I think it's this mess. Wow. So it's like rubber boots. What's up? A Macintosh.
Macintosh.
A Macintosh is a kind of raincoat. If you have to walk your dog in the pouring rain, you may want to wear a Macintosh. Oh, okay. So what's a Macintosh in shit? What is a Macintosh in the something something century? Where does this set? Okay, I suppose. All right. So it's these little things. These Burberry things. Isn't that what's his name? Sherlock Holmes had? I don't know. You may think of a particular brand of computer or a piece of fruit when you see the word Macintosh, but those are spelt differently. Macintosh is the name for a long waterproof jacket, particularly in the UK. The word is something used for other waterproof items like a Macintosh hat, and it's often abbreviated as Mac. Since when? In 1823, a Scot named Charles Mackintosh invented a waterproofing process, and the word, spelt both with and without K, stuck. Oh, that's cool. That's one way to have a legacy. Um, culminate. I feel like it's get. Culminate's like put together, it feels. Finish? No. waver, stretch, repose. I'm going to be honest, I'm not too confident what repose means, but I know it's not either of these. You got to be kidding me. Culminate? Culminate. Waver. It's not if it's finished, I'm going to cry. Finish? You got to be kidding me. Culminate is a verb that means to end. Okay. Especially to reach a final or climactic stage. The verb culminate is used to describe a high point or a climactic stage in the process. For example, the goal of a major league baseball team is to have their season culminate in a World Series victory. Hmm. The word culminate derives from the Latin word culminatus. Culminatus. The past the past particle of culminare, which means the top or crown. Use culminate when you are referring to a crowning moment or a final conclusion. I want my experience combining strawberry jam with burnt toast to culminate in a Nobel Prize in chemistry. Okay, use culminate when you are referring to a crowning moment or a final conclusion. Okay, or at least a lucrative contract with a major food supplier. All right, so it means to finish a winner, I think. Culminate. Yeah, finish to a grand end. Parasol. I have no. Let's go. Is this going to show up? What is a parasol? Dang. I'm gonna say it's this, like, which is like most relevant in Dorian Gray. Wow, is it not this? Is it this? Give me a break. A parasol is a little umbrella that protects you from the sun. If you are trying to imitate a fancy Victorian lady, get yourself a parasol. An umbrella is a collapsible shade that people use to keep from getting wet in the rain or burn in the sun. A similar device is a parasol. Parasols are smaller than umbrellas, so they're not as useful in the rain. However, many people, especially on the beach, use parasols to keep the sun from beating down on them. If you don't want a sunburn, a parasol is handy. Reverie. Revere? Rev Reverie. Oh geez. What? Reverie. I'm gonna stick with that. It is an abstract place, usually conceived of as having depth, instinctive knowing, a deliberate act of omission, absent-minded dreaming while awake. Abstract place, usually conceived as having depth. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. What's this long load? This long loading just to tell me it's wrong. Deliberate act of omission. Absent-minded dreaming while awake. And how do you pronounce this?
Reverie.
Reverie. You are relaxing on the beach, dreaming of how you will never have to get up and go back to work. You're engaged in a reverie, pleasant daydream. There is nothing wrong with reverie, but if you follow its path into English, you'll see how closely it is connected to madness. The noun is from French reverie, from a Middle French word meaning wild speech, delirium. From rêver to roam, speak wildly. Middle French rêver is also the source of English rave, as in raving mad. Staccato is not food. Staccato, abrupt, has to be. How do I pronounce it?
Staccato.
Staccato. In this question, staccato is an adjective that means marked by or composed of connected parts and sounds. Okay, staccato is a musical term for notes that are played quickly and sharply. You can also refer to anything characterized by similar beats, such as the staccato clacking of the woman's high heels on the tile floor. There is nothing quite so pleasant as lying in bed on a Saturday morning listening to the staccato tapping of the rain on the roof, knowing that everything you had planned will now be canceled. Other staccato sounds are not so pleasant, like your neighbor learning to play drums or a jackhammer blaring right outside your window.
Staccato.
Staccato. Servile. I think that's submissive. Yeah. Again, these are words I didn't know or words I don't have the best grasp on, even though it sounds familiar. So servile means submissive. Well, let me read. It's an adjective that means submissive or fawning in attitude or behavior. Servile describes someone who is almost aggressively helpful, like a teacher's pet who insists on bringing an apple every day, even though the teacher doesn't want it. To call someone servile is an insult. Okay? To remember servile, think of the word servant. They both derive from the Latin servus, an enslaved person. Oh, okay. The Servile Wars, for example, refer to slave revolts in the Roman Empire. These days, servile describes someone who is so eager to please that it makes you cringe. If you apologize when someone else steps on your foot, you're being servile. Yeah, censure. Censure, censure, censure. Reprimand, fret, depict. Shit. I'm thinking censor. What does censor mean? Censor means to hide. It's to hide explicit things. So I'm thinking it could be depict. No, reprimand. Wow. So what
Censure.
censure? Censure is a noun referring to very strong criticism. Okay, and well, what about censorship? How does that relate? Um, the verb criticize very strongly. If you take your dad's car without telling him, you can expect him to censure you severely and maybe even ground you as well. The noun and verb are most closely associated with official expressions of disapproval, as when Congress censures a senator. The noun is from Latin censura, censorship from censor, an ancient Roman censor. The job of a Roman censor was to take the census and to supervise more public morals, and behavior. Our English word censor, which means to suppress speech from other forms of expression, is from this Latin word. Okay. All right. Censure is a verb that means to rebuke formally. Tawdry. I've run into this word so many times, but it still hasn't last. Has a impatient, broad, tasteless. I think it's tasteless, fanciful. Woo!
Tawdry.
Tawdry means cheap, shoddy, or tasteless. It can be used to describe almost anything from clothes to people to even events or affairs. You know that black slip you picked up for nothing at the garage sale and use as the skirt of your lion tamer Halloween costume? It's a bit tawdry. It would really be tawdry if you wore it on a regular day out. Tawdry things often have a hint of desperation and immorality, like tawdry extramarital affairs or tawdry tales with tawdry decorations and jewelry. Quality has been exchanged for lots of flash and shine. So that's my thing. Okay. Caprice. Another word I ran into but never really stuck what the hell it means. Caprice. Pang, impulse, humility, and anticipation has the same or almost the same meaning as I'm betting 100 on humility. Damn. Anticipation, impulse has to be. Okay, there you go. On a whim, he sold everything and left the city for a beautiful wilderness of Alaska. But his act of caprice felt a lot less whimsical when he realized how freezing cold Alaska was. Okay. Caprice is a noun, means sudden desire. The word caprice has its root in the French for whim, which comes from the Latin word capriccio, for fright or sudden start. A caprice can be just a fun, impulsive act, but it can also be something done on a quick whim without thinking it through or preparing for the change in direction. Having a sudden liking or caprice for someone or something can be short lived too. All right. Free figure. What the hell does that mean? Free figure. Agur, dismiss, trounce, prance. Has to be this one. Yeah, because nothing else makes sense. Like I'm thinking before figure out, but let's learn actually. Something that is a sign of things to come can be said to prefigure the future things. Okay. And usually not in a good way. Let me read this over here. In this question, prefigure is a verb that means to indicate by signs, be an early indication of. Okay. Sleeping through your alarm Monday morning might prefigure your entire week. In other words, it may be a sign of unlucky days ahead. English is rich in terms that have the basic meaning of telling something about the future. That's very, very true. Because the last time I did this, I ran into a word that means like predict, and I can't like recall what it was. But doing vocabulary.com, I ran into so many words that mean like, you know, bad omens, basically. So many words like that is annoying. What were they saying? Oh, yes. Perhaps because we all wish to know more about it. The Latin root for prefigure is prefigurature from pre, before, and figurar, to form or shape. Figurar. Ape, well, that's a primate. But the way I read the word ape in a Dorian Gray was really, really odd. So, like, I put this on to learn that there's like a double meaning. I really don't need this to be here. Hold on. Okay, okay, there we go. To ape someone is to intimidate. Oh God, intimate. To ape someone is to imitate them. Okay, often in a mocking way. Most people don't like being aped. There you go. All right, that's interesting. To ape is to imitate, but it can mean a few different things. One type of aping is to blatantly imitate something or someone in every way. That's considered a bad thing because it's so unoriginal. It's a ripoff. Any kind of aping is like a caricature. To ape in this way is a way of making fun or spoofing someone. Either way, you probably don't want to be accused of aping. Precis has the same or almost the same meaning as precis. Well, I see the word pre. What does cis mean? Symphony, greeting, summary, exaggeration. I'm feeling greeting just because I see precis. Wow. It can't be if it's a summary. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. A precis is a summary of something's main points. If you have ever jotted down notes about your main ideas as before writing a persuasive essay, you've also used a precis, okay? Precis is a noun that means a sketchy summary of the main points of an argument. Precis looks like precise.
Précis.
What? Preci? Preci?
Précis.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Preci. Preci looks like precise, and of course, you always want your preci to be precise, but the words are pronounced differently. Preci comes from the French word precis. So say it like this: preci. You can accent the other syllable preci. Okay, the S is only pronounced if the word is plural, precis. The spelling stays the same. Atone, atonement, atone. Enter unlawfully on someone's property, no. Be persistent, refuse to stop, maybe. Collect or look around for, no. Turn away from sin or do penance. Okay, listen. I'm thinking of the word atonement. Okay, and atoning them means to I forgot what that means now. Look at that. Do somebody, well, I can't explain it. Like atone them. Turn away from sin. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Atone.
To atone is to do something right to make up for doing something wrong. There you go. She atoned them. Religious believers are known to atone for their sins, but even atone for a past failure by acing a quiz or two. The word atone came to English as a contraction of the word at and one. The verb means to make amends or reparations for an offense or wrongdoing. You can remember the meaning by thinking of it as some sort of Zen concept, to be at one or in harmony with someone. You have to atone for your mistakes and be forgiven. In a religious sense, it means to repent for sins. Munificent, munificent, munificent. Munificent has the same or almost the same meaning as aboriginal, lavish, spectacle, unobtrusive, munificent. Oh, is it this? Spectacle. What's spectral? Spectral. What did I say? Spectacle. Spectral. Aboriginal, lavish, minute. You gotta be kidding me. Munificent. I saw ficent, and it had to be it had to be splendid word. Those splendid words like effulgent, brilliant, magnificent. What does munificent mean now?
Munificent.
Munificent. In this word, munificent is an adjective that means very generous. If you give your best friend a bracelet for her birthday, then you are a good friend. If you give her a diamond necklace, a racehorse, and an oil well, then you are a
Munificent.
then you are a I still can't say it. Munificent friend. Then you are a munificent friend, meaning you are very lavish when it comes to giving gifts. You may also be broke. Listen, I'm very, very hot, so I'm going to turn on the AC for a second. If you are the generous type, you may also know that the word munificent
Munificent.
traces back to the Latin word munificus, meaning generous or bountiful, which in turn originates from the word munus, meaning gift or service. Put concepts together and you have big time gift giving on a lavish scale. Use the word munificent to describe instances of over the top generosity. Think Oprah on a gift giving binge on at Christmas time. So you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. That munificent event. Obsec. Oh my goodness. Obscene, observe. What does obscene mean now? Yo, how obsequious? Obsequious?
Obsequious.
Okay, obsequious. If you disapprove of the overly submissive way someone is acting, like a teacher's pet or a celebrity assistant, you call them by the formal adjective obsequious.
Obsequious.
Obsequious. In this question, obsequious is an adjective that means attentive with an ingratiating or servile manner. Many words in the English language for a person or an action that is overly obedient and submissive. Yes, there is, and I'm tired of running into it. Obsequious, obsequious.
Obsequious.
Obsequious people are usually not being genuine. They resort to flattery at other fawning ways to stay in the good graces of authority figures. Obsequious person can be called a bootlicker or a brown noser or a toady. You can also say that someone gives an obsequious bow, a gesture that means your wish is my command. Conjecture. I learned this word so many times, but if I learned it in the past, I definitely forgot it now. But that as a prisoner, his life ought to have been held most sacred, especially as the charge against him was without evidence and perhaps no better than. In this sentence, conjecture means a brief or incomplete view, an orientation of those who favor government by the people, a hypothesis that had been formed by speculating, a biased way of looking at or presenting something. But that as a prisoner, his life ought to have been held most sacred, especially as the charge against him was without evidence and perhaps no better than conjecture, a brief or incomplete view. Without evidence, a biased way of looking or representing something. Hypotheses that have been formed by speculating on the orientation of those who favor government by the people. Oh, wow. Conjecture. Conjugates. That means something else. It says that's a G. Conjecture. Okay. But as a prisoner, his life ought to have been held most sacred. Let's go. It doesn't mean those two things which I was so sure about. A hypothesis formed by speculating. Wow. You see, I'm familiar with the word. I'm gold, but obviously I lost it. Can you guess what conjecture means? It's a word to use when you are not sure of something and have to guess or surmise. You can see how the word conjecture means that you can create a theory or opinion about something without basing it on fact, because the original definition of conjecture from the Old French is a interpretation of signs and omens. Since signs and omens are pretty subjective, it makes sense that the word would then move to its current meaning. However, even though it only seems like weather reports are conjectures, they are actually based on evidence. Ague, a wound made by cutting, a fit of shivering or shaking, a disorder in one's mental state, a deficiency of red blood cells. I have no idea. 50-50. It's not this, I know that. A fit of shivering or shaking.
Ague.
What is it?
Ague.
I can't hear. What does it mean?
Ague.
It's not working properly. Ague.
Ague.
What?
Ague.
Ague. So what's going on that is so hard to say it right? Ague.
Ague. Ague.
Ague.
Ague.
Ague.
Ague. Ague. Ague. Ague.
Ague.
Ague.
Wow. Is my internet connection okay? Probably not. Yeah. Because I just clicked next and it's not doing anything. So my internet connection is being a weirdo. Proliferate. Proletariat. Oh my God. Proletariat. No, hold on. Proletariat. Engagement, labor, branch, assembly. I got a feeling. Labor.
Proletariat.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Stop it. I need you to work properly. Don't do this today. What do you mean? The internet connection is fine.
Proletariat. Proletariat.
Listen, it's being weird and
Proletariat. 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 Proletariat.
okay. Proletariat is an old term for the working class. It's commonly used by Marxists and other people who believe that capitalism had created a class of owners, workers who were exploited by company owners. They called those owners the bourgeois. I don't know. In this question, proletariat is a noun that means a social class comprising of those who do manual labor. It is commonly okay. When you use the word proletariat now,
Proletariat.
when you use the word proletariat now, your audience might assume that you've arrived in a time machine from the 19th century and you're still angry about the exploitation so you probably would use the term self-consciously or humorously, as in the boss just sent me around a memo saying no one's allowed to leave until we finished compiling the report. I guess the proletariat had better forget about making it home in time to watch the kickoff.
Proletariat.
Okay. Inveterate has the same or almost the same meaning as it's either conversant or chronic. Yeah, woo! And I don't, well, conversant, I'm thinking converse. I don't think it means talking. Let's go. Chronic! And how do you say this? In
Inveterate.
inveterate. If you're an inveterate doodler, your notebooks are covered with drawings. If you're an inveterate golf player, you probably get twitchy, been out on a course in a week. Inveterate comes from the Latin root for old. It means old habits. In Middle English, the word was associated with chronic disease. Now, it simply refers to someone that is a signature habit with a person. If you've loved books ever since you were a toddler and you regularly check out big stacks from the library, you're an inveterate reader. And if you're an inveterate nail biter, nothing can cure you of the habit. In this question, inveterate is an adjective that means habitual. Placard, frame, stamp, sign, or pole. I think it's sign. Yeah, I know it's sign.
Placard.
A placard is a sign, especially one that advertises something. You might get a summer job standing on the sidewalk holding a placard that announces a mattress sale. It may not be your dream job. A concert poster, a storefront notice, a protest sign carried in a rally. Each of these is a type of placard. A placard can be a impermanent. What am I saying? Oh my goodness. Impermanent as a square of cardboard with a scrawled message, and as official as a permanent plaque marking a historic building. The old French word placard, what? Whatever, is at the root of placard and it means to plaster or to lay flat.
Placard.
In this word, placard is a noun that means a sign posted in a public place. Wharf. This word so many times, but yes, I can't even figure it out because it makes me feel like waif. No, so I haven't run into this a lot. I ran into the word waif, which is WAIF, right? And it's meaning somebody of like very skinny size. Like pillar, um, wharf, telescope, pier. I think that means because when I read the definitions beforehand, I remember like bodies of water. Okay, wharf.
Wharf.
A wharf is a platform built on the shore that extends over the surface of the water. On the wharf, you saw people preparing to set sail. What the hell is a wharf? What does it look like? That's the wharf? Okay. All right. So in that Percy Jackson movie, when the two gods, Poseidon and Zeus, were talking to each other, you can say that they were in full display over the wharf. Is that how we're going to use it? Scrupulous means, I know what that means.
Scrupulous.
Scrupulous means very carefully to do things properly and correctly. Let's move on because I already went through this. I know what scrupulous means. I mastered an S word. I know. Penitence, 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 penitence. I feel like it means pay. Excessive or uncontrollable fear, a feeling of annoyance, a feeling of intense annoyance caused by being tormented, remorse for past conduct. Penitence. I feel like it could be a feeling of annoyance and remorse for your past conduct, but give me 50-50. What the hell? Remorse for your past conduct then. Everyone makes mistakes, but not everyone feels bad about it afterwards. And if you're someone who has regretted something you did, that sorrowful feeling was
Penitence.
penitence. Penitence shares the same Latin root as verb, as the repent. Okay, all right. Which means to express regret. It's also connected to the word penitentiary. Penitentiary, another word for prison. Sometimes penitence means so painful you might think you deserve to be in prison. The good news is that unless you commit a serious crime, you can probably apologize, as that display of penitence is usually enough for forgiveness. Be careful, although the last half sounds like tense, it's actually spelt with a C. Prowl. Prowl. He's on the prowl. As the same or almost the same meaning as assemblage. No. Monastery. For. Import. Give me 50-50. Okay. Four. Okay. Because what does and he's on the prowl mean? In this question, prow is a noun that means the front part of a vessel. Wow. Okay, so it just means a part of a ship. If you're standing on the prow of a ship, you're on the front section above the waterline. When Leonardo DiCaprio declared himself king of the world in the movie Titanic, he was standing on the prow of the doomed ship. Prow comes from the English. Do I really care? It's about a ship. Okay, hold on. Prow came into English from the Greek word prioria, from the base meaning in front. Okay, prow typically refers to the front part of a ship, the pointy bit that cuts through the water. You might see the prow of a ship approach the harbor through the fog. You can also use prow for things that look like the front of a ship, like the prow of a rock formation. Which of these sentences is an example of archaism? Wherefore art thou? I know what that means. Let me skip. To suck. To suck. Tussuck. Oh geez. Tussle, tough it, tune, tuss. Let's do tussle. Wow, tough it.
Tussock.
A tussock is a clamp or tuffet of something, like the tussock of grass at the top of a hill. Your grandpa might have an entirely bald head except a tussock of gray on top of it, and your yard might consist of dandelions and one tussock of tall grass. It's most common to use this noun, in fact, for grass that sprouts taller than the surrounding growth. When tussock was originally used in the 1540s, it meant a tuft of hair. Its origin is uncertain. In this question, a tussock is a noun that means a bunch of hair, feathers, or growing grass. Revere, I've missed it already, but I don't know what it means. I know I do. Absent-minded, revere. Okay, absent-minded dreaming while awake. What is it? How you pronounce this again?
reverie,
Reverie, reverie. Absent-minded dreaming while awake. Especial. Okay. Unfamiliar, judgmental, fanatical. What does that mean? Uncommon, unfamiliar. Same thing.
Especial.
Especial is an adjective that means surpassing what is common, usual, or expected. Okay, hold on. I'm very, very thirsty, so let me get some water. All right. Okay. An adjective that means surpassing what is common or usual or expected. Okay. I'll accept the L. Travail. I think that's, oh Jesus. Okay, so am I even saying that right? I'm thinking travail as in we shall travail, we shall get past this and succeed, you know. Escalate, labor, readjust, disembark, escalate. So what does it mean? Am I looking at this right? Travail, labor
travail,
is a verb that means hard? No. If you had bust your behind, burned the midnight oil, and shed blood, sweat, and tears to get where you are today, you can say you've endured significant travail. Okay. So you can't say we travailed, as in you succeeded. You have to say significant travail. Like you've endured significant travail. That was your travail, right? Busting your behind, burning the midnight oil, and shedding blood, sweat, and tears was the travail. In other words, back-breaking, hard mental exertion or physical labor. What would you most likely do with a deviant? What's a deviant? I think I would wear it. No, I'll relax on it. I think it's relaxing something. Relax on it. Woo!
Divan.
Devon, where did I see an I? Where did I see an I to say deviant? Oh my goodness. It's so embarrassing. In this question, is a noun that means a long backless sofa, usually with pillows. A divan is a piece of furniture you might have in your living room. It's a low sofa without a back, sort of like an upholstered bench. Famously, Sigmund Freud patients reclined on a divan during psychoanalysis. The word divan comes from Turkish, and its meaning long cushioned seat, evolved from Book of Accounts, the council chamber, and finally to a type of seating that's common to council chambers in the Middle East. Occasionally, people mean a bed with box springs when they talk about a divan, but it usually refers to a seat with cushions for leaning against. And talking to a therapist. Macintosh, raincoat. I know what that is, and I'll never forget that. Inordinate. This rudimentary. Oh Jesus, that was just like a on a whim guess. Inordinate, unvarying, unreasonable. What the hell is this? In this question, inordinate
inordinate,
is an means beyond normal limits. Okay. Something that's excessive or that goes away beyond normal is inordinate, like an overly obsessive love for chocolate or a fantasy football junkie who spends an inordinate amount of time checking his team. The adjective inordinate is the exact opposite of reasonable and moderate. In fact, when you call something inordinate, you're saying it's downright exorbitant, and out of proportion. Wait, oh my goodness. So inordinate, it's not moderate. Okay. It's often used to describe abnormal amounts of time spent doing something, spent playing video games at work or canoodling with your girlfriend at school, for example. But as Oscar Wilde once says, an inordinate passion for pleasure is the secret of remaining young. Well, funny he mentioned Oscar Wilde because we are basing this vocabulary words off Dorian Gray. An adjective that means beyond normal limits. Malady, malady, not malad, malady. Doubt someone's honesty. Preoccupation with something to the exclusion of all else. An abstract state of absorption. An unwholesome or desperate condition. Give me 50-50.
Malady.
There you go. A malady is an illness, like a malady that keeps you home, sick in bed for days, or something that causes you to have trouble or suffer like a malady that affects travelers. Malady pronouns, malady comes from the Latin word mal, meaning bad or ill, and habitus for have hold. When you have a malady, it is like something bad is holding you, such as an illness, the common cold, a malady of winter. Some bad habits cause maladies, such as never having any money, the malady of people who spend freely, not thinking of the future. Okay. Truculent, truculent, pertinent, belligerent, wretched, entrenched, truculent. I just had a feeling, even though I completely missed what this means. I recognize it though. In this word, truculent,
Truculent.
what's truculent? Wow. In this word, truculent, why did I say truculent? In this word, truculent is an adjective that means defiantly aggressive. If you are quick to argue, yes, and that's exactly what this means. How do you pronounce this word?
belligerent,
Belligerent. You are quick to argue, always looking for a fight and hard to please. You are truculent.
Truculent.
You are truculent. You can also write a truculent essay, and fans upset by a loss can become truculent. This word has no connection to truck, but the similar sound is still a way to remember it. Truculent folks are like monster trucks, ready to run over anything that gets in their way. To be truculent is to be defiant, aggressive, and quarrelsome. A truculent student will get in trouble with teachers, and a truculent teacher might get fired. In a violent sport like football, it helps to be truculent, but it's usually not a great quality. In this question, truculent is an adjective that means defiantly aggressive. Manusulium, oh geez. What is stored within a bunch of books? What? Rare gems. Corpses?
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum. A mausoleum is a building that contains a tomb or tombs. The Taj Mahal, built by Shah Jahan, is meant to his third wife, Mumtaz Mahal, is the world's most famous mausoleum.
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum. In this question, mausoleum is a noun that means a large chamber, usually above ground. Okay. Abstruse has the same or almost the same meaning as blatant. I have a feeling. Has to be. Abstruse. Derelict, esoteric, blatant, nefarious. Abstruse. Sh- Oh, that was by accident, y'all. That was by accident, ladies and gentlemen. I did not mean to press that button. But okay. In this question, abstruse is an adjective that means difficult to understand. Esoteric. How does that relate to esoteric? Am I understanding esoteric properly? Abstruse things are difficult to understand because they are so deep and intellectually challenging. It might be hard to figure out how the inside of a wristwatch works with all the tiny, complicated pieces, but something abstruse is much harder to grasp, like the quantum mechanics implied to making atomic clocks for navigational purposes. The Latin roots of the word abstruse is about concealing or hiding something, which is a good way to remember the meaning of this word. It is useful when describing something that is overly confusing, or if someone is deliberately making a story or a situation more complicated than necessary. It sounds and looks like obtuse, and abstruse is almost its opposite. Obtuse is dull or lack a sharpness of intellect, while abstruse is president of the chess club. Obtuse is hanging out by the parking lot smoking cigarettes. Okay. All right. An adjective that means difficult to understand. Caprice, impulse. We're not forgetting this one. Okay, caprice is a noun that means a sudden desire. Vile. I know this word, but I feel like the way it was used in a Dorian Gray kind of threw me off, but heinous has to be. Okay, yeah, I know the word. Herald. Herald, like, herald has the same and almost the same meaning as acclaim. There you go.
herald,
Herald is a verb that means to praise vo- vociferously. Herald is a verb that means to pray vociferously. Is the sign of things to come on a chilly day in October, is a herald of the coming winter. Years ago, a herald was an official who announced important news to the people, and that's how the word herald is sometimes in ways a newspaper name. And this is why many newspapers today have herald in their name. Okay. Nowadays, the word herald refers to an early indicator of something that's about to happen. Herald can also be used as a verb, meaning to praise, to greet enthusiastically. If you've been away from home for a long time, your family might herald you to return, especially if you come bearing gifts. Felicity. Why do I know this word? Like I recognize it. It's like a pop culture word in a way. Not serendipity, not that word, but something else I heard this before. Okay, felicity. Felicity, pleasing and appropriate manner or style, the trait of being rude and impertinent, conforming with rules or standards, the qualities of a hero or heroine, the trait of being rude and impertinent, pleasing or has to be this. Wow, pleasing and appropriate manner or style, this one.
Felicity.
Felicity is a state of happiness or the quality of joy. Sitting on a roof with a telescope and iced tea on a clear, starry night is one way. Perfect felicity, a happy place. Felicity comes from the Latin felicitas, meaning happiness. A synonym for felicity is blissful. People, places, and things can have felicity. His personality is so warm and full of felicity that we felt at ease the minute we met him. Or you can be in a state of felicity, a full stomach, a fluffy couch, and a fluffy and the felicity of a Sunday afternoon nap. Okay. Conjecture. A hypothesis that has been formed by speculating. You will never get me again. Inveterate. Inveterate. Damn, I missed it. Inveterate. Highly or violently reactive, transparently clear, unable to move or resist motion. Habitual? Yes, it is.
inveterate,
Inveterate. If you are an inveterate doodler, all your notebooks are covered with drawings. If you're an inveterate golf player, you'll probably get if you haven't been out on a course in a week. Inveterate comes from the Latin root for old. It means it, and it describes old habits. In Middle English, the word was associated with chronic disease. Now, it simply refers to something that is a signature habit with a person. If you've loved books ever since you were a toddler and you regularly check out big stacks from the library, you're an inveterate reader. And if you're an inveterate nail biter, nothing can cure you of the habit. Best, bestil. It means like an animal, animalistic, like bestiality. Inhumane. Has to be.
bestial,
Yeah. Bestial. Okay. Bestial sounds like beast. And that's precisely what it means. Beast like. When a human acts like an animal, their behavior is called bestial. Raiment. Why do I feel like it means clothing, especially fine or decorative clothing? A device that retards something's motion? A man-made opening? A man-made receptacle that houses a swarm of bees. I feel like it's a man-made opening or especially fine or decorative clothing. Let's go 50-50. What? Okay, how about this? Woo! Well, listen, I cheated though, but how do I pronounce this?
raiment,
Raiment is an old-fashioned word for clothing, particularly fancy clothing, like ladies who always wore their best raiment when calling on friends. Raiment is formal clothing. It comes from the old French word arrayre to array, which describes dressing in decorative clothing or adorning yourself in the very best. The word raiment has mostly gone out of use, much like the rare practice of getting very dressed up.
raiment,
Raiment. Raiment is formal clothing. Tawdry means cheap as hell. Shoddy. Shoddy? Um, question tawdry is an adjective that means cheap and shoddy. Tawdry means cheap, shoddy, or tasteless. It can be used to describe almost anything from clothes to people to even events or affairs. Let me plug in my phone here. Okay, I'll reread it while I try and plug this in. Um, you know that shiny black slip you picked up for nothing at the garage sale and used as a skirt of your Lion Tamer Halloween costume? That's a bit tawdry. But it would really be tawdry if you wore it on a regular day out. Tawdry things often have a hint of desperation and immorality, like tawdry extramarital affairs or tawdry tales with tawdry decorations and jewelry. Quality has been exchanged for lots of flash and shine. Staccato. Ha ha ha. A series of sharp, distinct sounds. Absolutely. Let's go. I'll never forget that word. You're 18% done practicing this list. I would like to be 25% done or finish at 5. It's over 5. It's 5:03. Let's see if I have more stamina for this left. Parasol, this one. Okay, it's umbrella. Little umbrella that protects you from the sun. Which of the following is the best example of reticence? Shit. Reticence. We went through this. I missed it. Making jokes to an enthusiastic crowd. No. Give brief answers to friendly questions. No. Make an enormous effort to complete tasks. Offering sympathy to an unhappy acquaintance. I feel like it's this one. What is it then? Damn it. Give brief answers. Yes, because reticence means, okay, I know this. I know this word. I'm familiar with it. Okay? In this word, reticence.
reticence,
Reticence. In this word, reticence is a noun that means the trait of being uncommunicative. Reticence is a kind of reserve, wanting to avoid communication and not wanting to offer any more information than is necessary.
reticence,
Reticence. Reticence. What was I saying before? Reticence. Veil. What the hell is a veil? I listen. If it's not VE, is this okay? I mean, some sort of fabric, right? Brick, valley, but I don't trust it. It's either this or this. Veil. Let's go. Woo! Okay, all right. This because I feel like it was a trick question. Okay, and I'm going by my undependable memory here. A vale is a long depression in the land. Okay. Usually between two hills and containing a river. A vale is a valley. Climb every mountain, soar, or is it swim every sea? If you've ever gone to a place where there are mountains, you'll see plenty of mountain ranges, mountain tops, and valleys. Valleys are the low points between hills. They are also known as vales. A vale often contains a river because it's the lowest point and therefore somewhere water can settle and flow. If you climb a mountain, you'll see many vales, which are often long and winding. The hills and vales of an area are usually gorgeous and breathtaking. Okay. Querulous. Querulous. Querulous means, what does that mean? Querulous? We went through this. Habitually complaining means complaining. Proletariat, 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 proletariat. Okay, proletariat. Okay, and that means labor. Someone's complaining about labor.
proletariat,
Proletariat. Proletariat is a noun that means a social class comprising those who do manual labor. Okay. Social class is those doing the manual labor, right? I suppose. Verity. Oh, this is going to throw me off. Do I remember? Damn. A state of friendship or cordiality. No, I got that wrong. Disgrace resulting from improper behavior. No. Verify, okay? Conforming to reality or actuality, okay? Verity can also be used to mean a true idea, belief, or statement. Wharf, it means this. Placard, poster. Culminate, finish. Archaism, the use of outdated expression. Especial, uncommon. We're not getting this wrong again. Travail, labor. Mausoleum, corpses for some reason.
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum is a noun that means a large burial chamber, usually above ground. Okay, a mausoleum is a building that contains tombs or tombs. Let me read this whole thing because I skipped over it. That's why I don't remember it. The Taj Mahal, built by Shah Jahan, is a monument to his third wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Is the world's most famous mausoleum. Mausoleum.
Mausoleum.
Mausoleon, the Greek source of the Latinized mausoleum.
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum of the Latinized mausoleum was the name given to the tomb of the king Mauzulus, a Persian ruler who died in 3 BCE. This vast, elaborate structure was one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. Other notable mausoleums. Am I saying that right now?
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum or mausolea. I hope I'm saying that right, include the mausoleum of China's first Qin emperor, site of the famous Terracotta Army, and the tombs of Ulysses S. Grant and Abraham Lincoln. Agoo! It has to be that. Some sort of sickness.
ague,
Ague, ague, chills and fever that are symptomatic of malaria. When people got sick with fevers and chills back in the colonial times, they called the illness ague. Today, most people will refer to ague as malaria. Okay. Turbid has the same and almost the same meaning as turbid, like fast, like Turbid. Autocratic, no. Tepid, no. Turbid is like, I'm thinking turbid speed. Do I have the right word? Muddy, infinitesimal. Okay, autocratic or infinitesimal is this. I'm gonna scream. What does muddy have to do with turbid? Oh, never mind. I said turbid speed, but that's turbo speed. Wow. I mean, well, I think I'm still right for looking at TUR and thinking it means something, like the prefix. In this question, turbid
turbid,
is an adjective that means clouded as with sediment. Okay. If a liquid is dark and murky and you can't see through it, it's turbid. Usually used as a criticism, a turbid river is generally a polluted one, but then again, a good pint of real ale should be turbid. Good pint of real ale should be turbid. Go figure. Turbid comes from the Latin word turbidus, which means muddy, full of confusion. Although it's usually used to describe liquid that is turbid, creek in your rain boot disappeared in, it can also be used to describe writing that's unclear. If your teacher says your essays for English is turbid, it's time to go back to work. Outlines and thesis statements can help clear up the turbid prose. Enmity is something that you take. Oh no, never mind. I thought enmity, hostility, bondage, custody, isolation. Listen, hostility. Okay. Enmity?
enmity,
Okay, good. Enmity means intense hostility. If you're a football fanatic, you feel enmity for your opposing team. Enmity comes from the same root as enemy and means a state of being an enemy. If you have always hated someone, you have a history of enmity with that person. Enmity is stronger than antagonism or animosity, which implies competitive feelings, but don't go all the way to enemy status. Hopefully, you are a peacemaker and don't experience too much enmity in your life. In this question, enmity is a noun that means a state of deep-seated ill will. Morose. Morose has the same and almost the same meaning as. The same or almost the same meaning as morose. Devious, no. Ill-tempered, no way. Ambiguous, ill-equipped. I feel like morose means sympathy. What? Morose, morose. I'm feeling ill-tempered, but that's gonna make me very, very upset. Ill-equipped, ambiguous, devious. You know what? Devious or give me 50-50. Devious or ill-tempered it is. Okay, there we go. Morose. A morose person is sullen, gloomy, sad, glum, and depressed. Not a happy camper. Not a happy camper. When someone is morose, they seem to have a cloud of sadness hanging over them. The word is stronger than just sad. Morose implies being extremely gloomy and depressed. We can all be morose at times, like after the death of a friend or a family member. Whether you're morose due to an event or just because you're feeling blue, you should try skipping or whistling a little tune to perk things up. Okay? Morose is an adjective that means showing a brooding ill humor.
Macintosh.
Damn, Macintosh. Let me type this right quick.
Macintosh.
Don't do this to me. Macintosh. All right. Scrupulous. Careful. Adjective that means characterized by extreme care and great effort. Staccato.
Staccato.
Okay, so I'm 27% through. My daily goal is just to do like a quarter each day, right? So we're at 27. So we kind of hit our limit here, our goal, our daily goal. And with that said, thank you for not tapping into my live stream because I know no one's watching this, but this is something I want to do after reading a book. Just go through my vocabulary or the words I ran into or the words I'm familiar with, but don't have a great grasp on, so I have to learn. All right. But If you are going through my channel and you came upon this live stream, well, thank you for doing that too. Okay, we're going to log off now.